Maxton Hall Season 2 is on the corner with its first episode, and we have all the details we need on it. So, let's talk about it. Season 2 officially premieres on November 7th, 2025, with the first 3 episodes dropping all at once on Prime Video. Then, new episodes will release weekly every Wednesday until the finale on November 28th. Just like the first season, there will be 6 episodes in total, and honestly, I love that Prime Video is keeping the weekly releases for the last 3. It gives us time to process everything, scream about what just happened, and then dive right back in together. Plus, I will cover each episode here with you, which is always a plus. Of course, Maxton Hall wouldn't be what it is without Harriet Herbig-Matten as Ruby Bell and Damien Hardung as James Beaufort. Their chemistry completely carried the first season, and from the looks of the trailer, it's going to be even more complicated this time around. Also, returning are Sonia Weiser as Lydia, Ben Philippe as Cyril, Fedja Van Huet as Mortimer, Runa Greiner as Ember, Justice Reisner as Alistair, Andrea Guo as Lynn, Frederick Ballonier as Kieran, and Eli Riccardi as Elaine. Before we get into what's next in this season though, let's rewind a little to where Season 1 left us. You might remember that Ruby and James had finally gotten together after all that tension, that push and pull, and the whole enemies to lovers journey we all lived through with them. Ruby nailed her Oxford interview, and for a brief moment, it seemed like everything was finally falling into place. But then, James's world completely fell apart. He learned that his mother had died from a stroke, something his father didn't even tell him right away. That final scene where he watched Ruby from a distance, seeing her happy with her family but too heartbroken to approach her, was such a painful ending. And we can't forget that last reveal about Lydia. I mean, it is a twist that is impossible to forget. But just in case you forgot it, let me remind you, James's sister was pregnant with Professor Sutton's baby, which means Season 2 is going to have even more secrets and emotional chaos to unpack. Now, this new season is based on Save You, the second book in Mona Caston's trilogy. And if you've read the books, you already know this part of the story hits hard. Prime Video released the official synopsis, which says, "Those who fly high can also fall low." After their passionate night together in Oxford and her greatest life goal within reach, everything seems to be going perfectly for Ruby. But a stroke of fate in James's family changes everything, and James himself, of all people, brings her back from Cloud 9 to a harsh reality. Ugh, even reading it out loud made my heart race up. Anyway, let me continue. Ruby is devastated. She has never had such strong feelings for anyone as she does for James, and she has never been so hurt by anyone either. She wants her old life back, where no one at Maxton Hall knew her, and she wasn't part of the elitist world of her classmates. But she can't forget James, especially since he's doing everything he can to win her back. So, yeah, we should all get ready, because this season is going to take the emotional roller coaster from Season 1 and crank it up about 10 levels. Now, let's talk about those trailers, because they really gave us so much to unpack. The first trailer begins with Ruby's voiceover saying, "Some dreams are so beautiful that you want to stop time." It's soft, romantic, filled with flashes of her and James together, laughing, kissing, completely in love. For a moment, it feels like maybe things will be okay between them. But then, everything changes. Ruby walks into a party and sees James drunk, kissing Elaine. That's when her voice shifts as she says, "Sometimes 1 second is enough to turn them into a nightmare." My dear poor Ruby. I can already see how hurt she feels, and I am so sad for her. From there, the trailer dives deep into the chaos we're about to see. Lynn tells Ruby, "You had a life before James Beaufort, and you'll have one after James Beaufort." Meanwhile, James is spiraling, consumed by grief over his mother's death and trying desperately to win Ruby back. He says, "I'm forever sorry. I wish that I could take it back." Lydia reminds him that he and Ruby come from two different worlds, and Mortimer, his father, is still the same cold, controlling man we remember. He tells James, "Stay away from this girl forever." So it's clear that their relationship is going to be tested from every possible direction. The good thing is, though, there is still a very obvious spark between them. The trailer ends with Ruby saying these words, "If you have a definite goal in life and nothing in the world would stop you getting it, then you mustn't give up." Damien Hardung actually talked about how much darker and more emotional this season will be. He said, "We kinda knew reading the first draft of the script for the second season that it was going to be much bleaker, but also more honest in a way and more grown up." He added, "Because we've seen him the last time, when his mother has just passed away, and I feel like he needs to have a certain time frame of actually working on his grief and going through the different stages of grief." Harriet Herbig Matten also shared how Ruby's focus this season will shift towards self-healing. She said, "Ruby is trying to fix herself and is setting boundaries and is letting James go after going through her first heartbreak." She also explained that Ruby wants James to grow too. They're trying to figure it out, and he's changing, and I think that's the breaking point for her. In Ruby's eyes, in order to decide if she'll get back together with him or forgive him, he has to change and he has to get help. If we connect everything from the trailers, the end of Season 1, and the Save You novel, it is clear that Episode 1 will pick up right where we left off, with James reeling from his mother's death and Ruby trying to rebuild herself. In the book, James starts to push Ruby away again, not because he doesn't love her, but because he's so broken he doesn't feel like he deserves her. And that moment where Ruby sees him kissing Elaine is exactly the kind of drama we'd expect from him at this point in his story, which will dominate Episode 1 through and through. For more weekly updates on Maxton Hall Season 2, make sure to like and follow. Meanwhile, the video on the screen might also interest you.